What is the fastest way to clear a clogged drain? If you've ever had one, which I think most of us probably have, then you know what a pain this is, and all the methods out there are not created equal. So today I am sharing my top 3 favorite ways to get clogs out and clean drains. The last one is the coolest, but also the grossest and most satisfying. So what really works to unclog drains? I feel like I have tested everything over the years. Don't ask me why we've had so many clogs. And the irony is, it's not even my sink that I'm unclogging. Most times it's my husband. So riddle me that. Nonetheless, I've had a lot of practice. I've tried a lot of things. And so these are my 3 favorite methods. And let me just say, I will always start with the least invasive, most natural methods first, because if we can avoid chemicals, let's do it. But if those don't work, then I progress to stronger things. So that is what I am sharing today. Everything will be linked in the description below. Let's get to it. I guess technically there are 4 methods I'm gonna share because I forgot about this little tool that I keep on hand. I just keep it under the sink. I think I got this for like $1 at the Dollar Tree. So you might have something like this to sort of snake through your drain. I always initially start with this because sometimes I'm like, maybe it's just like a hair clump that I can pull up that, you know, the teeth there will snag it. But when that doesn't work, then I move on to one of these other 3 methods, but these are good to have on hand and inexpensive. Now, before I get into these 3 methods, what you'll notice is not on this list is Drano or liquid plumber or something like that that you buy at the store. I have used those in the past. They have worked, but over the years, I've learned that they're really hard on your pipes and they can be corrosive and they can really be harmful to us if you would ever, have a splashback up the sink or something and it would hit your face or get into your eyes. So I try to avoid it at all costs. I mean, you, of course, if you love that, use your own discretion and go with what you feel is right. But I find one of these other methods work just as well and with maybe a little less concern. So that is why those are not on the list. Also not on this list is a very popular natural solution, and that is baking soda and vinegar, because what have we learned in some other videos that I have shown in the past? The 2 cancel each other out. I know it looks like they're doing a lot. There's a bubbly reaction, but they actually are neutralizing one another. So it's not really doing what we think it's doing going down the drain. So we do still have a natural method with method number 1, but it's not baking soda and vinegar. Split the 2, don't use them together. They don't work together. Separately, they're great, but together, no. Instead, you can do a little baking soda, which I like to use as a deodorizer, add a little bit of grit in there, but then hot water. Now, a lot of people you may see recommend boiling water. If you have plastic pipes, PVC pipes, or porcelain, you don't want to use boiling water. It can damage them. So skip that if that is your pipe type. But if not, then you could give that a try. So that is method number 1, or you could simply just try some hot water, baking soda, and then get the sink to hot and do that. So that is the nice, least invasive method. I always start with that first, because a lot of times if the clog isn't that bad, that might get it done quick and easy, super affordable. If it doesn't, then we move on to maybe method number 2. Okay, method number 2 is also a very simple one, non-invasive. And the nice thing about these natural or non-invasive methods are that they're septic safe. Sometimes with the actual cleaners, you have to watch and double check that for sure if you have a septic system. But number 2 is simply a mini plunger. The first time I ever used this, I had serious doubts that this would work. But much like how a plunger works to clear a clog in the toilet, this one or something similar to this, or a toilet plunger would probably work too, will also clear a clog in your sink. So love this method. It's super affordable. You can see here in the video, when I had a clog and used this, it brought up some just nasty black chunks of stuff. Don't even ask me what that is, but it worked like a charm. It cleared the clog. So an easy one that you can just keep under the sink or on hand. A great one to start with before moving on to the chemicals. And then method number 3, which by the way, stick around because I have a pro tip at the end of all of this for your sink stopper if yours doesn't come out. But method number 3, like I said in the intro, is the grossest, but the most satisfying if it's been a while since you've cleared out your drains. This can actually be used to clean your drains, or in my case, I found that it really worked for a clog as well. And that is one of these canisters. They have foam inside of it. Now, it's really only gonna be satisfying if you have an overflow hole, because as you see in the video, you simply push down on this and then it's going to go down through your drain, but then if you have the overflow hole, a lot of it is gonna spew out of there as well. You guys, I was not prepared for what was going to come out. So my husband's sink had been clogged. All of my other methods were not working. I needed to bring in the big dogs. This was it. It worked like a dream, but wow, was it disgusting. I mean, we are talking big black chunks of I don't even want to know what. It was so nasty, but also really satisfying to see that that is no longer in there. Now, I had a question from people when I shared this on social media asking, well, what did you do with the chunks? Like, do you rinse it right back down? Isn't that gonna just lead to more clogs? I put gloves on, which I recommend anytime you're using a chemical cleaner, and I scooped out the chunks and put it into like a trash bag, and the foam will get really large as well. So I even scooped out some of that, tossed it in the tub to like rinse it down, although you could rinse that down the sink, but I did remove the big chunks versus washing them down the drain. So if you are in a similar situation, I do recommend that. But this worked so well, super satisfying. And yeah, it gives your drains a nice good clean too. So if nothing else is working, or for spring cleaning, if you wanna give your drains a good old clean, this is a non-corrosive method and I love it. It worked like a charm. Okay, and then our pro tip, if your sink stopper doesn't come out just by you pulling up on it, some of the cleaners like the foam will recommend that you remove the stopper so there's nothing, in the way. So if yours doesn't just easily pop out, it's probably like mine, it's connected underneath. This is a very easy fix. Trust me, if I can do it, anybody can. What you'll wanna do is grab a wrench, get under the sink, and you'll look for a setup that looks like this. At the base of the sink is kind of gonna be a bolt. You'll loosen that, and then you'll see that that's connected to a little rod, which is then connected to a little rod hanging down. You simply wanna pull out on that horizontal rod. It's almost like a little plunger that's in there stopping, the water from coming out. So pull that apart, remove the stopper, and then make sure you put that all back together minus the stopper before you run any water or clean the drain or try to clear the clog. Otherwise, it's all gonna come rushing out of there and be a mess underneath your sink in the cabinet. So put it all back together, clean it all out, and then when you're done, again, repeat the process, take it apart, put the stopper in, and if your stopper looks like this, where there's like a hole at the bottom, you want that hole facing the back, not the front. That way everything lines up when you put it all back together. But yeah, that's it. It's nice and easy, but for the longest time I was like, I'm so confused. Why does my stopper not come out? Because for years I've always had ones that just lift right out. So that's why, but that's how easy it is to do. And then of course, the final step is gonna be to clean your sink when all is said and done, because it no doubt probably saw some nastiness. So give that a good clean. And then of course, if you try all of these methods and nothing works, it's time to call a plumber, but hopefully one of these will do it first. Let me know in the comments if you have a drain cleaning method or a clog clearing method that you love that I didn't mention. Hit the thumbs up button if this was helpful. And if you liked this video, be sure to check out my video on how to clean your bathroom exhaust fan. This is very important to clean every now and then because it can be a fire hazard if it's not cleaned. So check that out if it's been a while since you've cleaned yours. Thank you.